Here's a video review of the Living Forest Oceanside Campground in Nanaimo, British Columbia on Vancouver Island. One of our favorite campgrounds on the island. It's massive with probably over 300 sites, and some in the forest, some with ocean views, and just a perfect place for the kids to run around. There are not many videos on YouTube of Living Forest, so I thought I'd just film a little bit of a walk around as I gave the review. So I'll let the camera run just a little bit longer than normal to just give a good overview of the sites, and maybe you'll see a site that you're considering and have a better view of it. As you come in, it is pretty narrow in here, and there's a lot of different lanes converging all on the front office here. So if you do show up around check-in or check-out time, it can get a little congested, so just be aware of that and be patient. It doesn't take long, but can be a bit of a traffic jam in there. This is our site this year. This is actually site number 1, so not the most private because it's right up close by the office, but it was massive, almost the size of 2 sites with this giant old tree right in the middle. We had a big group with us. We had family. We had 3 different sites rented. So this giant site was perfect for all of us to get together. And there's about 4 or 5 different roads that go down throughout the forest. And when we first came here, our kids were about 4 and 5, and they got lost a little bit for the first few hours, but always found it back to the campsite. But it can be confusing. But within a day, they figure it out, and they just rip around the entire time, make friends, and learn the ways back and forth to their campsites or back and forth to the playground. But definitely be aware for those first few hours. Help your kids get oriented and find their way around. Tons of really tall old trees here. So this is heading up from the main office over to the playground. If you're looking at the map, this is site 204 and 205, 206. And all the sites are really private, tons of trees, and pretty spaced out from your neighbor. There's pull-through sites all around, and a pretty good mix of either 30 amp, some are 50 amp, and even some tent sites that have power and water. All the RV sites are full service. This is heading over into the playground area. Here's one of the large washroom shelters. All the washrooms on the property are just absolutely spotless. They must clean them several times a day. But this shelter by the playground has a dishwashing station and a couple big picnic tables. We actually used it once for our large group. We sat here and had dinner instead of in the site. And it's open to anybody. There's several of these scattered throughout the property. And looking back toward the playground here, there's about 5 or 6 pull-through sites right here. I would recommend these if you have younger children, maybe around 4 or 5. You could keep an eye on them at the playground without having to leave your site. So if you want to just check in on them, or if they're having trouble finding their way back, these pull-throughs would be great. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend it because you will be listening to the playground all day long. So just be aware. Really nice playground though. We were here for over a couple of weeks and they never got bored of it. They'd wake up and head straight over there, meet all their friends, and then cruise around on their bikes and back to the playground. Worked really well. And just on the other side of the path here, there's some more pull-throughs. A little bit more privacy from the playground, but still close proximity, so depending on the age of your kids, those could be an option too. And on the map, that's around the 184, 185, 186 range. Some pull-throughs on the left here, really large ones, and then on the right I think we're getting into a nice stretch of sites here around 200, 199, 198 coming up. They're on a bit of a perch, so you get an ocean view in the back, and you don't really have anyone in front of you when you're higher than the people behind you, so you do get that nice view. Really nice private wooded sites here. Every site has a campfire. There was a ban when we were here this year, but normally at night everyone's out sitting in front of the fire. It's quite lively. So coming around the corner here on Maple and Chestnut, if you look at the map, you probably come up to the stretch of the nicest sites from 160 out through 168 on the left-hand side here. They're all back-in sites, long enough for a big rig, but they're really private and have some of the best ocean views in the campground. That's a really nice site there. I think it's 162 or 163, and you get those really nice views. Just on that ridge there, that's the back of sites 199, 198, and you can see how you're elevated and see right above your neighbors. Here's someone in a rental who's having a little trouble backing up. Generally, all the roads and sites are really wide here, so you shouldn't have trouble pulling in. I think this one, it's just because it's a rental, they're not as familiar with it. But I'm gonna come over here and help them back in. It's a nice big pull through in front of the playground. We'll get them into this site. Got them all straightened out here. So just continuing up, coming up to about site 153, 154 here. Again, really nice views and lots of shade and privacy. You get some power lines down here that are closer to the cafe. I think this is 154, so if you're higher up in the 160s, you get the unobstructed views. Lots of nice pathways here for walking around, walking the dog, and just kids everywhere having fun. I have to mention too, just right outside the campground across the street is a huge shopping complex. Grocery store, pharmacy, liquor store, gas station, everything you need for grabbing things for dinner or other supplies. So you don't have to worry about packing every last item. Everything is right there. When you come down the path here in front of sites 228 and coming out by 142, there is a little cafe. And it's open in the morning and afternoon. They've got coffee and espressos and cappuccinos and also a ton of ice cream. So great treat for the kids in the middle of the day. And a nice little patio here with a gorgeous view of the ocean. And that is the outlet from Nanaimo River where it meets the open ocean. Great place for kayaking, stand-up paddle boarding, and swimming. It's not very deep, so really safe. Great place for a morning coffee. When you come up from the cafe, you get into a row of a little bit smaller sites, some tenting sites, but you can still fit small trailers in here. Most people in here, though, are tenting. Little van campers are perfect for this area. I think every tent site has a place to park your car, so you're not walking into any site here. And like I said, a lot of them have a power connection, and some even have a water tap, which is really handy. The trees here are just magnificent. Here's our site again in the evening. Tons of space for everybody. And this is just down below the cafe at the beach and boat launch area. This is right where the river meets the ocean, so this is low tide right now, so it's mostly fresh water, and it's not deep at all. It's 2 to 3 feet, so really safe for the little ones. Water was nice and warm, and you can launch your kayak or your paddleboard or just go for a splash. A lot of people had floating inner tubes, and they just tie them up to a rock. And this is low tide right now. But as the tide comes back in, it gets a little bit higher, but still a great place to swim. On site, there's showers, washrooms, a propane filling station. The office sells ice and other supplies, really everything that you need. So it's definitely one of our favorite resorts to stay at on Vancouver Island, especially on the East Coast, and it's rare to find an RV park out here that can accommodate really large fifth wheels, big rigs, A classes. You'll definitely fit here no matter how large you are. They have a site for you.